welcome to the Gaia update for Chiron transiting into Aries in April 2018. I'm Adrienne Elise. This is a huge transition because Chiron has been in Pisces since 2010. And so this year in 2018, we're having a huge shift of energy. So Chiron is the wounded healer. It's the part, it shows in our chart where our deepest wounds are. Chiron has an unusual, crazy kind of orbit, and so it spends a very different amount of time in each sign. So it spends the longest amount of time in Pisces and Aries, and so has quite an affinity with these signs. So 2018 is really potent because Chiron is moving into Aries, and yet will retrograde back into Pisces, and then come back into Aries in February of 2019. So we are moving into this energy. On April 17th is when Chiron moves into Aries. And so we're really feeling this, a very powerful generational shift of energy here. So if Chiron is the wounded part of ourselves, in Pisces, it's been showing us for the last 8 years this place where we're wounded in the collective consciousness, we're wounded in our connection to spiritual energy. And Pisces, Chiron kind of has an affinity with Pisces as far as like the themes of Chiron, being wounded, feeling kind of lost and stuck in the wounds. And it's also about past, in Chiron in your chart shows you kind of past life wounds. And so it's kind of like places that we've been stuck for a long time. And Pisces has an energy of kind of martyrdom and being kind of wallowing in this water, this collective. It's like a death process. So Chiron moving into Aries is going to be quite a different energy. And so when this happens, we're having an opportunity to move into what the Aries energy is about, is the spark of creation. It's identity. It's who we are. It's the force of nature that is required for incarnation, for conception, for new life to occur. And you can kind of think of it as a seed with all of the power and energy it needs to sprout out of the ground and move through the darkness and into the light. So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it represents a new fresh start. So Chiron's getting a fresh start. This is really awesome because in Pisces, Chiron has been kind of like, oh, we're wounded, the collective is wounded, and we've come out of this Piscean age where our connection to the whole, the collective consciousness, was used against us to control us. And so Chiron moving into Aries is really speaking about healing and resolving the issues of the Piscean age. So the energy of Chiron and Pisces kind of kept us in this place, served to kind of keep us in this place of wallowing in our wounds. Now, Aries has a very different energy. Aries is like, get up and go. Like, you're wounded, fine, fix it and move on. And so it's got a very dynamic energy, and it's about, it's an opportunity for us collectively to move out of victimhood. So part of that Pisces energy in Chiron is this energy of kind of being, there's an energy of fantasy or delusion associated with Pisces. And so when that comes to our deepest woundedness, we have a tendency to kind of just pretend everything's okay and not really look at the face of facts of the reality. But the universe is saying, nope, it's time to really deal with this. And so it's like we can't really heal our wounds until we're willing to actually face our wounds and look at them. Now, this is really powerful because at this time of transition in April 2018, we also have Jupiter retrograde in Scorpio. So Jupiter is a big, powerful energy of light and expansion, but it's in the sign of Scorpio where we have the hidden shadows. It's the Pluto rules Scorpio. It's about transformation and death and rebirth cycle. And so it's kind of, with Jupiter there, we're having to look at this shadow aspect of ourselves. We're having to look at the shadow aspects of the society, and you can see this coming forward with all of the sexual distortion and disease of our culture, Scorpio rules sexuality. So it makes sense that these things are coming up to view. And so that's really helping us with this Chiron shift into Aries. Now, the other thing that's really potent is that Uranus has been in Aries for the last 7 years and is making a shift in May into the sign of Taurus. So this, from mid-April to mid-May, when Chiron and Uranus are both in Aries, and we have an Aries new moon on the middle of April, on April 15th, right just before Chiron moves in, it's kind of like we're getting this message of what this Uranus in Aries has been about. Now, Uranus is the awakener. It's the ruler of Aquarius. It's about disruption and change and revolution and new information coming in. And so if Aries is about our identity, our self, it's the spark of creation. It's coming into form. It's who are we? And so Uranus has been disrupting this, which is a good thing because it's making us look, it's also uncomfortable because it's breaking down false personality concepts and false identity concepts of who we are, humanity, as well as us individually. But when that breakdown is occurring, it can feel pretty uncomfortable. And this is kind of where we're at right now in the collective of what's really going on in the world, is that we're having this breakdown. We're having this face reality energy. We're having this having to get our head out of the sand and take our blinders off and face the truth of the world that we live in order to be able to change it. And so Chiron moving into Aries is this opportunity for empowerment, coming out of wallowing in the wounds of victimhood, in the wounds, staying a victim to them, or in denial of them, or not wanting to face them. And then kind of Aries is like, okay, Aries the energy has a very powerful individuality. It's ruled by Mars. It's about the fight to exist. It's about what that energy that's needed to come into consciousness, to conscious creation. And this is where we're at. We're rebirthing the earth. We're rebirthing our consciousness. And so this Chiron and Aries energy is going to be really powerful and empowering to us, because the energy of Aries is that if they're wounded, they kind of will like face it, get up, and move on. And this is kind of what we need to do, to let the wounds of our past empower us rather than keep us as victim. And so this Chiron moving into Aries is saying something powerful to us about claiming our right to be who we really are. So it's like Chiron wants to use that energy of Uranus and Aries, this revolution of the self. Who are we really? Do we have a right to exist? Or are we just minions of this power structure world? You know, do we get to be who we really are? So the issues of Aries in your chart are going to be whether or not you have the right to exist as who you really are. Aries is this rebirth, and it's about putting back the pieces of your personality, of your identity, changing your identity. We're all in a massive identity crisis. And so Chiron is saying, pick up the pieces, put yourself together, claim your right to be who you really are. Now, Chiron has a masculine energy. It's like the centaur. It's that part horse, part god. And so this energy is very much an opportunity for the masculine part of our evolution, of the parts inside of ourselves. The warrior, Aries is ruled by Mars, the warrior planet, and it's kind of like to be this warrior, to come to kind of face our wounds, heal our wounds, pick up and move on, and stop letting the Pisces energy kind of has like, it's like we're defined by our wounds. We're stuck in our wounds. And Aries is saying, you know, no, we're not going to. Aries is so fiery and so fast and so action oriented. And it's like, we don't have time for this. We've got to move on and make some stuff happen in this world. And that means we got to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps and let our wounds of the past Piscean age, our wounds of our past lives, empower us. Okay, so the energy with Aries, the downside of Aries is like when Aries, where you don't feel like you can be who you really are. And this is such a huge theme for the world right now, and especially for powerful, empathic, indigo crystal souls, the light workers on the planet right now that have a lot of past life issues where they were killed or persecuted for who they were, not even necessarily for what they did, but just who they are and their identity. So they come into this life in kind of playing small. It's like, well, I don't think I'll do that again, right? Like, I don't think I'm going to go out there and be my true self because I'll probably get killed for it. And it's like, it's like now is the time when we can claim. This is what this Chiron and Aries is saying. It's saying now is the time to claim your right to be who you really are and release all of your wounds around every lifetime, every experience in the past, every experience as a child. So Aries rules childhood. It rules the essential self. It rules the inner child. It rules the part of ourselves that maybe feels like we didn't get our needs met. And so we're having this opportunity to let the stories of our past, our inner child, throw a tantrum, throw a fit, and stand up to our oppressors. So the energy of Aries and Chiron, opposed to like those end degrees of Pisces, of where it has been, and this last period of time, is about. It's kind of like, if you could look at it like. A victim standing up to its oppressors and saying, you know what, no more. I'm not going to play along with this game anymore. I'm going to claim my right to be who I really am and call out the bullshit and call out the oppression. And so this is where we're at culturally, is this opportunity to be truly human, to claim our true humanity. And this is the deal. There's so many light workers, and every child that's being born right now is like a crystal child who maybe doesn't have as very little experience in this earth evolution. They're just bringing in like pure light, unapologetically bringing in their pure light without any qualms about being who they really are. And it's a totally different generation. And so it's like humanity has been in this victimhood place from the age of Pisces, allowing the oppressive energies of authority, domination, and control to say whether or not we get to be who we really are, whether we not get to be humans. So humans are beautiful, emotional, sensitive creatures. They're nonviolent. They don't want to hurt each other, but we've been told a horrible narrative. And this continues as the power, the control energies on the planet continue to tell us that we don't have any control over our reality. Creating terror, creating fear, creating experiences that make us stay separate and fearful of each other. Now, that's the one thing, when you're looking at the Aries energy, you're looking at the spark of creation, and this is when we're all the same. You know, like we all were one spark at one point before we incarnated into this experience, into this evolution. And so it's kind of like those stories of separation and you and me and the other side, and if only they could, you know, like if somebody else has a different point of view, then they just don't even deserve to be on the planet. This is the stuff that's coming up. You know, it's going to come up with this Chiron and Aries. It's around our identity. And an opportunity to shake down our identity, come back to our true human identity instead of the stories we've been told. So the Aries empowerment has to do with like our childhood and conditioning, and where we were not allowed to be ourselves, where we didn't feel like it was okay to be ourselves and still get our needs met. And this is kind of an energy of the Piscean age. It's like religious conformity, or we're gonna burn you at the stake, right? I mean, that's kind of like what the height of the distortion and of the Piscean age, that's what it was about. And so we have this oppressive control energy on the planet saying that it's not okay for you to actually be true humans. Oh, there's something wrong and bad about being sensitive. You're too sensitive. Like, you shouldn't care. Just, you know, there's all this horrible things going on, but just keep your head in the sand. It's fine. It's fine. And it's like the humans are getting more and more sensitive as these light children are being born on the planet. And it's this Chiron and Aries is time to say, hey, you know, like the Aries wants to bring back the fractured pieces of personality. The healing of the Aries energy is bringing back fractured pieces of the personality of past experiences, past lives, becoming whole and complete. And that's kind of what Chiron does too. It breaks down our personality and with wounds, and then so we can build it up in a healthier way. And so we're having this opportunity to claim our right to be whole and complete and healed and have a human experience on our beautiful planet Earth that's not based on control energies and manipulation and the power energies controlling, keeping us in survival rather than a possibility of thriving. So Aries has this energy of like existence, the power that it takes for something to come into form, like this seed under the ground, pushing through the earth and pushing out the compression. This is where we're at right now. It's like we're being pushed and squeezed as star seeds to come into our true light and to awaken and claim our spiritual evolution. So all the forces of control energy on the planet want to keep us from having this spiritual evolution, which is true humanity. Standing up and throwing off this planet, just throwing off the energies of control, domination, artificial intelligence that want to keep us thinking we're small, that want to keep us thinking that we don't have any personal power, that to keep us thinking that, guns and violence is more potent than our own personal energetic power, than our own empathic ability. And that's a bunch of BS. So it's like, actually, as you move forward into like evolution, the security system of the future is actually intuitive, empathic people that can sense and feel. It's like guns aren't really going to have a lot of energy as we move forward in our evolution, because we're going to understand who we really are as consciousness embodied in a physical body. And so this is a rebirth of humanity available to us right now, in a potent time in 2018 as we adjust to this rebirth. Because in September, Chiron will go back into Pisces and then come back into Aries for good in February of 2019. So this is so potent because it's basically when on the 17th of April 2018, Chiron moves over this very powerful place of the Aries point, this spark of creation, the new birth. It's time to move in. Now, then in the fall, we have to kind of go back and be like, okay, are we fully completed in these Pisces issues, in these Pisces wounds? So that's going to be a really important time in fall of 2018 and the first couple months of spring 2019 to completely resolve and release these wounds of the Piscean age, and humanity standing up for who we really are and taking back our power, taking back our autonomy. And this kind of culminates in 2020 when Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto all come together into a conjunction in Capricorn. And Capricorn represents the structures of our reality and the structures of our life. And the financial structures, the political systems, and all of the systems are constructed reality, our belief systems, and it's all coming down. Like Pluto is the transformer. Pluto brings total destruction in order to bring that new birth. So this Chiron in Aries is speaking to this new birth that's coming and saying, humanity, get ready. Like, go ahead and pull your head out of the sand of the Pisces delusion of not facing the fact that we're being totally controlled in our reality and completely no permission to be who we really are. And then face those wounds of our identity, bring back our personality. So Chiron in Aries is a great opportunity for like soul retrieval. This is the thing with indigo souls and powerful, more evolved souls that are on the planet right now. They have this ability to exist like in pieces. There can be part of you stuck in a dimensional frequency in the past where you were wounded, and now it's this great time to become whole and complete. And that's when the game change really happens on the planet. When these highly evolved souls decide that it's okay to be who they really are, to be fully incarnate, to be home in a physical body and the full expression of a spirit, energetic consciousness in a physical body, completely conscious of the power that it has. Whoa. And so these power structures and control energies are just going to have to fall away. But we're in this battle, we're in this fight. Aries has a warrior energy, but we kind of need that right now. We kind of need this empowerment to come out of the wallowing and the victimhood and step into who we really are and claim it and stand up to our oppressors and say, you know what? we're not buying this story anymore. You know, like, and so Aries people can move on from their wounds. They can be, and they actually can really help other people move on from their wounds and kind of understand that our identity is not about our woundedness. Our identity can actually be healed and remade and rebirthed by the process of this Chiron energy, bringing back together the parts of ourselves that have been kind of skewed out around the universe. A lot of times indigo souls stay in parts because they don't have full permission to be who they really are. They've been entrained through past lives and social conditioning to play small and to deny their power and to hide their power. And so Chiron in Aries is a huge empowerment, because the deal with Chiron is that in our chart, it shows us where our deepest wounds lie. This is from our early childhood, and it also talks about past life experiences and past evolutions. But there's the other side of Chiron, which is the healed healer, and that is the shaman, where the wounds get turned into these powerful healing gifts. And this is the rebirth of Chiron moving into Aries, where we claim our shamanic power. We claim just being like this kind of the true identity of who we are as humans, empathic, sensitive humans that are not artificial intelligence, that are not based on control energy, that are not mechanical energies of that's trying to infiltrate and control our planet right now. True humans in their true power, whole and complete, claiming their right to be human, is way, way, way more powerful than all of this contrived reality of artificial control. These are psychological ideas that are keeping us back, that are keeping us in the dark, that are keeping us afraid and keeping us from claiming our true power. And so a lot of information wants to come forward with this Chiron in Aries shift of bringing our head out of the sand and facing the reality of our wounds, that we've been highly manipulated. And so the victim part and the delusional part of the Pisces is like, it's okay, I'm just gonna move on. I'm just kind of, but you can never move on if you can't really face the truth of your wounds. You know, like, so many people are carrying so many burdens, ancestral burdens and early childhood pain and past life stuff. And this is just kind of what we do. And it's kind of like, you're just kind of moving around with all this heavy energy in our fields, trying to, like, you know, get through life. And it's like, we can't really move forward. We can't be that spark of creation. We can't claim back passion and our right to exist and our right to really live and be true humans and have an experience on our planet of evolution, soul evolution and spiritual growth, until we can face these delusions. And face those wounds. So on some level, this Chiron in Aries is like throwing salt in the wound, but that's a good thing, because the salt is kind of cleaning it out, right? But it might hurt for a minute. And but this is where our empowerment lies. And that's kind of this beautiful energy of Jupiter in Scorpio for this transition, retrograde in a sextile with Pluto. So the third sextile of the second sextile of Jupiter and Pluto happens in April, exact, right at the time, right leading up to this Chiron shift into Aries. The third one is going to be after it goes back into Pisces in October. And so this Jupiter in Scorpio sextiling Pluto is giving us a huge, huge opportunity to harmoniously, gently adjust and change by looking at the shadow and make these adjustments. Pluto in Capricorn is breakdown of those structures of our world. So, you know, this is the place we're at right now, is that our physical reality and our 3D physical reality does not at all reflect the truth of who we are energetically. And the control energies on the planet have to continue to create fear, trauma, and incidents and terror to try to keep us from this evolution. You know, keep us scared, keep us small, keep us thinking that, you know, we don't have any power. And so that's the delusion. And so this adjustment that's happening available to us through 2018 with Jupiter sextile Pluto is saying like, okay, face a little bit more of the shadow, make some little adjustments, but this is big changes coming in the next few years as we lead into this 2020 astrology, because it's the fact that this reality does not reflect the energetic truth of who we are and what's happened to us, what's been happening to us. The world seems really dark and really heavy, especially with all this control energy. It's at max right now, through everything, our food, our air, and our water. It's all like engineered to keep us dumb, to keep us stupid, to keep us as sheep. And it's just so. But yeah, we had that powerful Pluto-Uranus square, and starting in 2011. And so it's like we don't see the changes yet in our outside world, but they're coming. They're coming right now. They're starting, and they're going to culminate in 2020, where the structures of our world, of the way we do things, have to completely break down and be rebuilt. But this Jupiter sextile Pluto is giving us this opportunity to find creative solutions to get going on this. People everywhere are standing up and understanding, taking the blinders off and seeing that we are the lies of this world and how completely oppressed that we are. And then Aries, and Chiron moving into Aries, says, I'm ready to take back my power. I'm ready to claim my right to be who I really am, whole and complete as an energetic soul, a light worker, bringing back all these fractured pieces of my woundedness from all these past lives. So this type of soul has been targeted through lifetimes to fear your power and fear what's accessible within you. And the fear has become stronger than the idea of fear has become stronger than the idea of your power and the truth of your power, our power individually and collectively. There's so many of us, and we're so powerful. If one person just totally came into their power, the world would change. And that's what's happening. Chiron in Aries is a male part of our self-empowerment and willing to stand up. And the horse, the combination of the centaur, the horse, and the god, it's like overcoming this kind of what they want us to think that we are is just animals, and that we don't have this consciousness available to us. We're not God incarnated. And Chiron is the woundedness of Chiron are about coming into your God power, coming into your shamanic ability, having this divine masculine empowerment on the planet. And, Mars rules Aries, but that doesn't mean that, this war is not a violent war. This war is negating and removing and erasing violence. And we've already achieved this. I can feel this in the collective. That's why the powers that be have to go to such great lengths to create terrorism in our world right now, because our collective consciousness is less and less buying into it and less allowing it. And, when we really sit and feel this energy, people are becoming more and more sensitive, more and more empathic, more and more nonviolent, more and more compassionate. That's the truth of who we are, humanity. So, but we need to, in a nonviolent way, use this Mars Aries energy to stand up, take our power back, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and be like, okay, yeah, this happened to me. It's not the truth of who I am. I am me. I am my divine I am essence incarnated in a body, and I'm going to live while I'm here. I'm not just get through till I die. That's what a lot of people's energy is going on right now. And it's the saddest lie there is. And so this Chiron moving into Aries is like, whoa, I'm the spark of life. I'm creation. I was made from and have access to within myself to the power that creates universes and worlds. That's who I really am. And that's this beautiful thing coming on the heels of this Uranus in Aries, this disruption of our identity. We are having this opportunity to come into our true human identity. And then this Chiron, right when Aries moves into Taurus, just after this, Chiron moving into Aries, and it's saying, yeah, humans, Let's do it. Let's stand up for our right to exist. Let's use this woundedness, these crazy, horrible stories of medieval darkness, of the Piscean age. Let's use those to empower ourselves and to claim who we really are and be whole and complete, fully incarnated in our light, the most potent energy available in this world. We're made of it. It's part of us. We have direct and complete access to it. And yet the stories want to keep us victimized, want to keep us in just kind of like, well, you can never win against tanks. You can never win against the power, the man, the violence, the control energies on the planet that want to create our paradigm. And we're basically in the matrix, in a cage of constructed reality, which is completely false from the truth of who we are. And so this Chiron and Aries transition is saying, okay, we're going to exit the matrix now. We're going to exist. We're going to be those seeds that have been so pressurized. So this Chiron and Aries is going to be good because so many people, once you find out the truth, it's hard not to get victimized by the truth. You realize how much these control energies are working against our spiritual evolution and working against our personal freedom and working against us staying human. They want us to become machines, literally infecting us with artificial intelligent particles so that we can be controlled and manipulated. And when you find out this stuff, it's like, oh my gosh. And it's like, how can you ever win against this enemy? How can we ever, and we're nonviolent and we're compassionate, and how do we fight? And what, and it's just part of the truth evolution that you go through a time of feeling victimized and like totally powerless. That's just a stage, but it's really amplified right now with Chiron, before it's moving into Aries and this end degree of Pisces at the beginning of 2018. But now Chiron moving into Aries is saying, okay, wait a minute. Like this story is crap, and I'm seeing right through it. I'm seeing right through this illusion that's being created for us through the mainstream media. And it's like, you can just feel that there's just no truth out there for us. We're just being lied and manipulated and with narratives left and right. And so we're just at this stage of coming out of the victimhood of being human with control energies on the planet and coming back into humans in control of our own planet, having our evolution, coming back to our connection with Gaia. So that's really cool because it's like Chiron, our woundedness, and our shamanic transformation is moving into this I am, I exist, I have a right to exist and be who I really am sign of Aries. Now Uranus, the disruptor, the awakener, the lightning fast kind of revolutionary energy, is moving into Taurus in May. And that's about like shaking up our relationship to Mother Earth, realizing that we've bought into a narrative that she's just a rock we live on and it doesn't really matter. And so we're having this opportunity to come back into a true communication with Mother Earth, Gaia, the goddess that we live on, understand her truly magical regenerative properties, and also with Taurus, with Saturn in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn and Uranus in Taurus, tons of earth energy. It's about building this new world. So it's finally time to start building the new earth, which is really about peeling away the bullshit control energies and where we've been victimized and where we didn't want to look at how much we were victimized and how we didn't want to face the truth of the shadow of humanity or the shadow of this reality. And so there's a big shakeup going on, and it starts with this new moon in Aries on April 15th. On April 17th, Chiron moves into Aries, and then in May 15th, Uranus moves into Taurus. So really a ton of shifting because Uranus is in a sign for 7 years. Chiron has been in Pisces since 2010. 8 years of this wallowing around in confusion and trying to figure out how to heal the collective wounds when we don't even want to look at the collective wounds. And so massive shift that's going on for humanity right now. And so take advantage of this Chiron and Aries energy between April 15th and September 26th before it moves back into Pisces, and get a hint, get a clue, get this feeling of like, oh, what, when you have you ever had that feeling, I'm sure, in your life where you've set yourself free from some sort of pressure, whether it was a bad job or a bad relationship or, some sort of problem with the IRS or something, it's like, and you get yourself set free from that and you feel like, you feel like you're alive. That's what this Chiron in Aries, the availability for us right now, is to feel alive, to feel the spark of creation within us, to live with passion and come into thriving instead of just surviving. And so just use this energy to your advantage. And the healing that's available is picking up these pieces, the soul retrieval, grabbing the pieces of yourself that have been strewn throughout the universe. Maybe you've decided to do that. A lot of indigos have the ability to give parts of their soul to other people, and that's not really serving us right now. That's a way for the soul to stay dispersed and to stay hidden and to remain in the illusion that your power is too much for you, the fear of your own power. And now it's time to gather up those pieces and come back together into wholeness, come back together in your right to exist as a true human, free of artificial intelligence, artificial control, the psychological matrix that we're in right now. So when you feel hopeless and you feel depressed and you feel like you can never win against these forces, or you feel like you can never get anywhere in this world, that's when you're in the matrix, okay? That's how they want us to feel. They actually feed on our energy of negativity and hopelessness and fear. Okay, so it's a challenge right now for us to claim this right to exist, because it's like when we claim our right to exist, we're literally walking around becoming more dead, more materialistic, more infected with artificial technology, and it's like we're claiming our right to exist as true humans, as consciousness embodied. They're basically trying to trick us into giving over our soul, to be through these control energies, because it's like, well, we're not that powerful, we don't have power over this, we just have to accept the way the world is, and no, not with Chiron and Aries. It's not what's happening. Aries is about fighting to survive, and that's what this fight is. It's a fight for human beings to take back human earth and claim our spiritual evolution. And so the feeling of coming out of the matrix is hope, ecstasy, joy, excitement, creativity. Okay, so these are all fiery energies. This has to do with this Aries energy. So use this time, this initial foray into of Chiron and into Aries, to kind of find where you can bring this energy back into your life. And, it's so important because they want to keep us in past and future and in fear. And, it's just a constant psychological battle. This war, World War III, is happening in our mind because there's like this psychological brain that wants to take over our reality. And we've allowed it. And so we have to take back our reality. And so the more time, when you feel depressed and hopeless, you're living in the past and you're living in fear of the future. And so we can bring ourselves back to the present. Aries is in the moment. Aries is like right here, right now, it's happening, and I'm going to be a part of it, and we need this energy right now and to claim this right. So that creativity, when you're being creative, when you have that creative spark, and it's hard when you're feeling kind of like, there's no time to even exist. We're just like slaves of this world, constantly having to take care of our daily, everything we need to do just to survive. But claiming this time to be present, to be with nature, to be creative, that's when we exit the matrix. That's when we take back our mind, our true mind, which exists in the moment, our true human mind, which exists in our consciousness, really exists in our heart. So coming out of the psychological brain, it's kind of like out there in the world floating around, this psychological brain, and it's got these, feeding us our thoughts and feeding us our reality and feeding us fear. And so it's kind of a task, but this Aries energy is really helpful because like, nope, I'm going to claim my right to be here in the moment, to have joy, to exist, to have zest for life, to have creative energy and passion. And that's how we exit the matrix and be completely present in the now moment. And when your attention goes back to those heavy energies of the psychological lower vibrational energies, if you just bring your attention back, just distract yourself back to the moment. Distract yourself back, and even if you don't believe it, you can just continue to tell yourself, oh, that's not who I am. That's programmed energies trying to tell me who I am and tell me my reality. And I'm this right here, right now. I am the spark of creation. I am consciousness. I mean, it's amazing what we are. We're in a 3D reality where we can touch and feel and experience life, but we're becoming aware of our God essence, of our true consciousness, and becoming conscious. The evolution, the spiritual evolution, is becoming more and more conscious of who we really are. And this is the identity crisis that Uranus and Aries has brought forward. And Chiron in Aries says, okay, clean out that wound. Activate your magical shamanic healing powers and move on. And let's go and let's make some stuff happen, because enough is enough. So enjoy this time of Chiron moving into Aries. Don't be scared to look at the wounds. Don't be scared to look at the truth, because it always gets better after. It's kind of like cleaning out your closet, and it's a big mess at first, but then eventually you can get rid of all that old crap you don't need and feel nice and whole and complete and organized within your being. And that's what's happening in our psyche, our personality, and just bringing ourselves back into wholeness. So I will catch you next time. Enjoy this next season of Chiron in Aries. Until next time, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.